one of the law firms we employ is a Washington-based law firm that specializes in nothing but ministerial compensation. And they have reams of data and statistics they've accumulated over decades on average wage paid, to senior pastors of every size church imaginable and every denomination in America. And in accordance with the IRS guideline, they review my salary in comparison to what the founding senior pastors of other churches this size across America are paid in every denomination. And then they take another look at those in our persuasion of ministry. There are a number of guidelines they follow, and then using those guidelines, they establish what is an appropriate compensatory limit for us for that year. And of course, when they do it this way, we are seen as being in a safe harbor. That's the terminology that's used. Meaning that if our compensation is set this way, the Internal Revenue Service cannot even initiate an audit. Because we're in this safe harbor, if we can establish that compensation has been established in this manner. By the way, I've heard that we're under FBI investigation. I've heard that we're under IRS audit. By the way, I've heard that we're under FBI investigation. I've heard that we're under IRS audit. Neither is true. I'm sure they would let me know about it if they intended to do so before they would anyone else, and I've heard nothing about any such thing. As a matter of fact, in a perverse sort of way, I would almost welcome an IRS audit. And I say that from this perspective. I mean, nobody likes to take exams or, as a pilot in the Air Force, I used, flight checks were a time of fear and trembling, and nobody likes that kind of thing, except on one occasion. Man, when you feel like you've studied and you know everything there is to know, and you've worked and you've labored and you've dotted every I and crossed every T, and you're ready for that exam or that flight check, you can't wait to take it because you know you're going to ace it. In the same way, I've labored for 25 years to dot every legal I, cross every legal T, and if they came and did an audit, I would like to know if there's something we're doing wrong. I want to change it, man, because I want to comply with the law. Amen. But at any rate, so in the setting of our compensation, it's important to me that you understand the board, who is an independent entity. They don't answer to me. The board is rotated and changed every 4 or 5 years because it is a rather intense investment of time by men who are already busy, and they're doing it for nothing. And so this is the way our compensation is established each year. Now, I'm not going to embarrass you or myself by telling you what my salary is and then trying to justify it. Let it suffice for me to say that I am very, very well compensated. God has provided for me in a fashion that, is super abundant. I'm very blessed. And I'm blessed by somebody else's hand, not my own. And the way I've shared a couple of times with different people that, in my estimation, the important consideration is not really how much money somebody makes, but what do they do with the money they do make? What do they do with the money they have available to them? So let me say this to you. And, I don't want this to come out the wrong way, like I'm patting myself on the back, but I am the largest contributor in the history of this church. Over 25 years, nobody has given any more money to the ministry than I have. The media represented that, I came out of bankruptcy owing hundreds of thousands of dollars and slid into the ministry out of desperation. Well, let me correct a few of these perceptions. If you understand business, then you will know that the CEO of any corporation is personally liable for any unpaid withholding taxes that have been held from employees' paychecks. One of the corporations that I owned and operated had $100,000 at one point of unpaid employee withholding taxes that I was personally liable for. We need to go on and complete the story by saying every dime of that was paid. There has never been a personal or corporate bankruptcy in my life. The records will show that clearly. And by the way, when we went into the ministry, I had enough money available that I didn't have to take a salary for an extended period of time, and was the primary donor in the ministry for a long time, the only donor, but then the primary donor, and have remained the largest contributor to this ministry throughout 25 years, even though there have been some years when we've received million-dollar gifts. Now, in those years, that particular year, I wasn't the largest donor, but overall, 25 years, nobody comes close to what Lynn and I have given. In the last 5 years, since 2001, since 2001, we have given over $2 million personally to this ministry. Am I patting myself on the back? No, I'm not. I'm well compensated, and my approach has always been use the money for what seems to be a need for me, and then give it back to the church. And that's what I've done. Obviously, we spend money on clothes. I like nice clothing. I haven't caught up with my wife yet, but, clothes. And part of the reason is, if I feel like I look decent, I preach better. So I'm really doing it for you. Amen. And, so, we've spent, some income on clothes. The church provides us with a parsonage, so we don't have any housing expenses. They bought us a home in 1990 for $230,000 that we've lived in for the last 15 years, a comfortable home that has been a blessing to us. So we don't have any housing expenses. We have spent money on cars. As I've heard, been reported, a Porsche and a Lexus among them. The Lexus is a $38,000 mid-size SUV. The Porsche, I spent about twice that much on because it's really fast, and I like fast cars. But I've paid for that with 4 speeding tickets and a suspended license. Amen. But, funny and oddly enough, one of the state troopers that gave me one of those tickets went through the last membership class. And I told somebody recently, that's a hard way to recruit new members, believe me, but